What is up, everybody? Welcome back yet again to the NXT Gen Geek channel. I'm your host, Darius, and in this video, we'll be discussing a lot of things, and mainly the biggest show of the MCU, because let's face it, MCU has just restarted, and that's going to be WandaVision. That has just premiered over the weekend, preferably last Friday at the time of this recording, and hopefully upload that the first 2 episodes have been released. But of course, it's not just me right now today, because I know you guys are probably sick of my beautiful face, but that's all right. I have my good friend Bren versus Reviews from Twitter. He wrote the WandaVision piece as well as the Miles Morales review for the DC Daily Planet. So this is my buddy. How are you, man? How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you for having me on and stuff. And yeah, the WandaVision piece was great. I was watching WandaVision and I was like, you know what? I was gonna write a review, but I got to write an editorial about this show, and it's very spectacular, and I love to see what they're doing with it.
Of course, I see exactly. Same here, man. I enjoyed that piece that you wrote as well. And of course, if you're not familiar with him, go check him out on DCDailyPlanet.com. I believe I said that right, correct?
Yeah, it's just backwards. It's dailyplanetdc.com.
Daily Planet DC. Like I said, I have a lot of stuff going on in my life. So guys, don't hate at me right now, okay? Don't at me.
No, no, you're good, man. You're good.
Of course. So, of course, just to start off, WandaVision, bro, what were your impressions beforehand? Like, what did you think? And then even afterwards. So, give me your thoughts right now.
My quick fire thoughts about WandaVision. When I first saw the trailers and stuff, I was like, okay, Marvel, what are you doing? I remember talking to people who are like, oh, this Marvel's gonna plateau. They're gonna run out of steam. They're gonna turn a corner. They're gonna go kiddish. And I was like, nah, something just feels off. So I'm watching it, and I was like, okay, they're really starting it off like sitcom-y, and you hear the dialogue and the slapstick in the back, and my husband with his indestructible head, and I'm like, that's dark. Okay, let's keep going. But then the more I watched the 2 episodes, and I watched them 4 times, so I watched both twice, and I'm just like, this is not what they're promoting it. I need more. Like, this entire season should have dropped at once, but like I wrote in my article, it's because of Mandalorian and how people are like, what's going to happen next week? So that's why they're doing it week to week, which is very smart on their part.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely. Like, for sure. I know for me, when I was going into it, I was already super stoked about WandaVision, mainly because I like what Kevin Feige was sort of almost marketing as we're going to dive into the mystical, even more magical aspects of the MCU. We're going to dive into her psychology, which really intrigued me because if you guys don't know, especially in the comics, Wanda's probably one of the most powerful mutants in the Marvel comics. You know, she has the ability to eliminate half, if not all, mutants in the Marvel universe. That's crazy. So for me going in, I was like, okay, I'm liking it. The sitcom esque stuff, I was a bit 50-50 on it, but I was like, you know what? Maybe there's something more to it. And as I'm watching it, I'm like, there's definitely more to it, and I'm liking it, and I'm liking where they're going. And there's certain Easter eggs in there that I was like, whoa, okay, my gears are turning. And I have a couple of theories as who the villain could possibly be. And especially since they said that this was also supposed to be the jumping off point for Doctor Strange into Multiverse of Madness. And I'm already excited for that movie, knowing that Scarlet Witch is in it. So there's a bunch of theories I have. But overall, WandaVision, some of the jokes did not land for me, but I think overall, just as a package and for the intention of what they're going for, I really enjoy it. I feel that this is going to be that type of show where you're really going to have to pay attention to it because there's so much going on internally and externally. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, watch the trailers. You'll see what I'm talking about. But yeah, overall, I thoroughly enjoyed WandaVision. I was surprised that the first 2 episodes came out. I did not expect them to drop the first two. But then when I watched the first episode, I understood why, because that was really short. And I was like, okay, me waiting a whole week for the next one's kind of ridiculous. So I'm happy they dropped the second one. That is a bit longer in length, not too long. It's not 40 minutes or along those lines. It is roughly around probably Mandalorian runtime. If you think about it, like Mandalorian is around 30-ish, 34 minutes. First episode of WandaVision, however, that was like 22 minutes. That was extremely short. So seeing that the second episode was longer, I was like, okay, good. At least it's a bit longer. I'm happy. And even the second episode kind of blew me away. And there were just certain points I was like, okay, where are they really going to go for this?
No, I absolutely agree and stuff. And I was like watching it. I watched it at 4 a.m. when it first came out that Friday. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to bed yet. I got nothing to do. Let's watch some WandaVision. And I'm watching, and I was like, oh, they're really going sitcom-y and everything. And I love Vision and stuff. Man, Viz, you really work hard like you're a computer. I should most certainly am not. I am a human carbon based organic human like you. And I'm just like, oh, I see the 50s sitcom here. And then, like, Wanda, isn't this something strange about the heart? And it's like, and it's in a way, I was thinking to myself, I was like, okay, they're like really either trying to fit in, or it's like someone's like pulling them, stringing them along like puppets.
Hmm.
And they really have a lot of amnesia going on at the same time. So you're like, what is going on, truly?
Yeah, definitely. Like I think they were very ambiguous for a reason because there's going to be so much going on. And one of the things I really enjoyed, and we didn't really see a lot of that in the MCU, is really how the dynamic between Wanda and Vision. And I thoroughly enjoy that because we got glimpses of that in Age of Ultron when they were first introduced. We saw more of that in Civil War. But overall, I think as a package, we just don't see a lot of those two together, really. And so seeing in WandaVision, automatically just the dynamic, even from the actors themselves, Elizabeth Olsen and Paul Bettany, they nailed it. And I mean, it really felt as if they were a couple. And that's one of the things I was kind of worried about going in, considering it was Marvel and it's their first sort of sitcom esque going through. And sometimes how they tackled couples in the MCU, I felt like it was tacked on and not
Hmm.
really a part of the story, or part of the scene. But this felt very much a part of the story, a part of the scene, part of the episode, and it's going to be a core element in the show. I mean, it's called WandaVision, so the actors themselves have to portray them and have to have that dynamic on screen. And I thought they just did excellent, especially in the second episode. That definitely had me laughing.
No, I agree and stuff, and I respect your point how you brought up their chemistry on screen. They are really functioning at Emmy award-winning levels right now, and you would have think like they have just like this charisma, this I don't know, just like this to them because like when you saw them in Ultron and she was very timid, she was very afraid,
Hmm.
and Vision just like trying to figure out who he was and stuff. He's been an AI for Tony all for a long time, but then you put them into this scenario, like okay, they're in the disguise of living a 50s house life and stuff, but WandaVision is so pure and organic that really it's a commentary about how fragile and how misleading the nuclear family truly was back then.
True. Yeah, definitely. And I think this was definitely an interesting choice to start off the MCU for sure. Especially when you have a show like WandaVision that's this almost black and white esque sitcom show compared to Falcon and Winter Soldier that a lot of people are excited about, where this is this Civil War esque action piece. Baron Zemo comes back and everything, but they chose WandaVision. I can see why, because this is really going to mess with a lot of people. I can definitely tell because they have so much going on in the show that a lot of people don't realize. And as I said before, this is definitely going to be a show that when you pay attention to it, you're going to start seeing and start connecting the dots as to actually what's going on. Yeah, overall, I love the first two episodes. First impressions, absolutely loved it. Again, not everything I liked about that I loved about it. Like I said, some of the comedy and amongst those lines, but just in general, interesting starting off point to the MCU. Interesting take and look visually as far as the characters and their development and where they're going. So I can't wait for the third episode, to be honest. So that's basically, if I had to give it a rating, I'm not really a rating type of guy, like out of 10, but I would say, would I recommend it? Absolutely. If you're already invested in the MCU, you want to see where these characters go, absolutely check the show out. It might be weird, it might be very abrupt, but just give it a chance, because by the time you get to the second episode, you're gonna start connecting certain dots, and you're gonna be very intrigued with how is all going to fall out and everything.
I mean, I give the show, if I was ranking it, I give it about like a B plus A minus right now because the dialogue does need to be fixed up a little, but yeah, the
Yeah,
chemistry's great. Catherine Hahn is downright scary. Like, I wouldn't want a neighbor who just shows up out of nowhere and is like talking to me about seduction techniques with my husband, and it's supposed to be a
yeah,
PG show. And I'm like, what is this? You're saying it's a PG show, but you're dropping a lot of adult commentary right now. Or how she's in the second episode. How does anybody do this sober? And I'm like, what? Marvel, what are you doing? And
yeah.
like, I was just like, huh?
Like, what are you talking about? Yeah, I think, I mean, casting wise, she was definitely an interesting choice going for this show. I mean, she does have a lot of comedy, I guess, background to her. And especially if you guys have seen, what was it? Bad Moms, right?
Yep,
That was like her main one. Yeah, Bad
yep.
Moms. I loved her. She was like my favorite part of the film in Bad Moms because she was just that hysterical and that out of the world. So having her in a Marvel show and really in the MCU, I was like, okay, but I think there's more to her than we are not expecting. I think a lot of Marvel fans are also, and I've seen on Twitter and on other social media that they're sort of catching on and have theories about her. I do as well. But it's gonna, like I said, it's going to be interesting going forward with how they're going to play things out, and especially who I think the villain could possibly be. So that's going to be our first impressions. Hope you guys liked it, and again, stay tuned to the next video, which we're going to be diving right into. Honestly, what are some of your theories? What are some of
Uh,
your theories?
some of my theories are, and I feel like this would be awesome because since they did like get Fox and stuff, and they got the rights to it, and Ghost Rider was part of Fox at the time and stuff, and um, I think Mephisto. It's got to be Mephisto. Mephisto is like such a great villain in DC comic. DC. Oh
Mm-hmm.
my God, I am so sorry. Marvel
It's all good,
Comics.
man.
Marvel Comics. The DC Comics version of Mephisto is Nerlon. So get it back to that. Mephisto. I think it's Mephisto because I think they're doing like the whole WandaVision thing. But what if they're doing like a Spider Man One More Day type of thing, where
Mm,
Mephisto's the one pulling the strings and she wants to have one final day with Vision? Because, Vision's dead. He got the Mind
exactly.
Stone ripped out like popping a pimple in Infinity War. So,
Yeah, definitely. Like, because I was thinking the same thing, sort of like I think Mephisto is actually going to be in this movie and in this show. I mean, it feels like a movie to be honest, but I think Mephisto's going to be in it, but in a way where because there's a certain character, I believe it was the neighbor, who kept going on about her husband. I was like, what if Mephisto's her husband? That would be an interesting twist um to that character, and I think as well we don't know exactly who she is, all that she's the nosy neighbor, but again, Marvel tends to keep certain casting as a secret, so I think she's going to be the witch that trained Wanda in the comics. I forgot her name. Something. Dang it, I'm gonna have to look that up again, but
Agatha Harkness.
Agatha Harkness, yes. I
Yep.
think she's Agatha Harkness, and I think Mephisto could be her husband, and we're going to see a bunch of stuff going on. And another line that they said in the show that I really dig, that I was like, oh,
I know which
okay,
one you're talking about.
it would be Wanda who's doing this to you. And I was like, interesting.
Yeah,
So it got me questioning, is this actually Wanda doing all of this psychological messed up stuff, or is someone pulling the strings? And I think that someone could be Mephisto, and we're going to see him. If anything, the main villain would probably be in the last 2, 3 episodes. That's
I
how I'm
agree.
going to.
I mean, another like little piece of detail I remember like listening, watching the first two episodes the second time through was the devil is in the details, and Agnes, while she's drinking her cocktail, goes, "That's not the only place he is." And I was like, Why'd you say that? Why did you
Yeah.
say that? I was like, I need answers to that. You don't just drop that and then act like it's nothing, or how everybody felt like puppets in a way. Like they're
Hmm.
saying, Wando, who's doing this to you? And then Dottie, like her hands like covered in blood, the glass goes through it. I don't know about you or me. If somebody stabs you with glass or my hand glass breaks in my hand, I'm gonna start screaming. I'm gonna be like, okay, let's cover this up. Let's get the glass out. Go get me a tetanus. She's like, Wanda, do you know how a housewife gets glass out? By doing it herself. I'm like, What?
Yeah, it's like, whoa, like, lady, what you talking about now?
That didn't feel right.
Yeah, it didn't. Like, there's a lot of points in this show where it's like it's very unnerving because it's just like, whoa, this is getting kind of weird now. It's getting creepy. Like the dinner scene with the husband choking. That entire sequence, I was like, whoa, this is kind of freaky. And it's really because how they edited it. Like you're on Wanda and Vision most of the time. You're hearing the commotion. They do cut away to that, but like just the pushing in on Wanda's emotional state and even Vision really just drew me in a bit more because I have to say, when you're watching a show, it's very sitcom esque, but when you get into those intimate moments, it's very MCU esque, and I really like that they haven't completely strayed away from their MCU DNA, and so like it's there when you really get into the nitty gritty of things. I'm really excited. I'm really happy about that.
Well, like that's one of the things I touched upon in my article also is like how I get they're going for the original 4:3 aspect ratio and like paying
Yeah,
homage to the Dick Van Dyke and Bewitched, but you're watching in black and white and then like the camera pans and zooms on her face and you see her break from her I Love Lucy accent to like Vision help him. And it's like her English accent and I'm like, "Whoa, what is going on?" Then it felt like Twilight Zone, but then the camera and the cinematography starts to like magically unravel and now we're in 4K and our reality and stuff and I'm like, what is going on?
yeah, definitely. So I'm way too excited for this show, considering that there's about 9 episodes, I believe, and they're going to be releasing through the end of January into February, well into February, into March. And so that's enough time to really hook people in. And I kind of like that they're releasing it on a weekly basis, mainly because I'm looking forward to the next episode. They made something so interesting, so unique. And yes, you can still say the same thing with the Netflix shows, but Netflix, they just drop it all at once and you have to wait a
Mm,
full year. Sometimes that's just like, huh, man. And you move on to the next one. But the second you hear Netflix has the next season out, watch it again. But then you have to wait a whole new year. This one, and I
yeah.
like Disney's approach, honestly, of every single week, every Friday, new episode, and then it's like at least you're waiting another week, or you can rewatch the episodes because they're short. And I really like that. Whereas I've noticed myself with some Netflix shows, I don't always rewatch them because I know either they're really long or I already know what happened. Like the memory's already fresh in my mind. And maybe I don't want to go through it. That's just a personal thing. But with WandaVision and even Mandalorian, I still rewatch them. Even when the season's over, I still rewatch them. I still go back to them. So I think Disney overall, even from a streaming perspective, they're also in an interesting place where they can go head to head with Netflix per se with their release schedule. And I think Netflix is starting to realize that as well as they're releasing movies now every week. So it's going to be interesting seeing how people may switch from, Disney, watch a show, to Netflix, watch a movie, wait a full week, and do the same thing. So I'm really interested to see how that pattern is going to change.
Well, I mean, like that's one thing I was talking to friends about too, and I was talking to different content creators about is that Disney is so cornering the market right now because Disney Plus is like a new window for like a new generation, like fresh blood. Everybody is like going into streaming and stuff. And also, it's half the price of what Netflix is. A month of Disney Plus is $7. Netflix is about 18. And yeah, people are like, oh, well, Netflix can show like gruesome blood and stuff. But blood isn't like necessary for certain things. You can have a good story without being just gory and just nonsense killing. You can have a good story without it being a mature rating. And
Mm-hmm.
Disney has such an established fan base with the MCU and that even Kevin Feige stated that WandaVision is a show that we could never do in a movie because it's a progression thing and it keeps you saturated. And it's like, okay, my Marvel taste buds are going. I want more, but I gotta wait till next Friday. So I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna rewatch this. I'm gonna take down every quote of dialogue, and I'm gonna be like, I miss this Easter egg. I miss this. I miss this little the M on the wine bottle and how it translates to House of Contempt, which is from the House of M comic where she wipes out all the mutants. Like you
Mm-hmm.
don't realize those things on first appearance and first walkthrough. It's those multiple walkthroughs where you're watching it a second time. And when you finish the seasons and stuff, you're like, how did I miss that? How did I not know this is where they were going?
Yeah, definitely. And again, Marvel always just surprises the audience with their movies and shows. And again, one of the movie I didn't expect to like was Ant-Man. I can do a movie on Ant-Man. He's like, what? But they pulled it off. They made a sequel. I enjoyed that as well. Guardians of the Galaxy, again, another property not a lot of people know about. So, and even going forward, we're getting Ms. Marvel show. We're getting Shang-Chi and Legend of the Ten Rings, which I'm excited about mainly because Mandarin's in it. So that's really the biggest reason why I want to watch that. Considering they messed up Mandarin in Iron Man 3.
Is it the true Mandarin this time? Like the
Oh,
actual Ten
I don't
Rings
want to think about.
Mandarin? Like Cloak Mandarin? Like actual Mandarin? Not like, here's a
Oh
fortune
man.
cookie, I'm gonna break it. Oh wait, I'm a TV actor. That's all I am. I'm just an actor.
But yeah, I mean, overall, that's pretty much it for our first impressions of WandaVision. Brendan, you're pretty much excited. I'm pretty much excited. We can't wait to see it going forward. And again, if you guys like this video, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and of course, hit that notification bell to stay up to date on all videos on the NXT Gen Geek channel. And of course, like I said before, follow Bren versus Reviews on Twitter and follow him also on the planetdc.com
You're good.
website. Like I said, I don't want
I
to mess up this
I have
title again.
I have the link on my Twitter, so all they got to do is just click my profile and it says link right there. I got to
Yeah.
update my Twitter bio because it still says author. So my boss was like, "Hey, you got to put editor now," and I was like, "I'll fix it. I'll fix it." So yeah, but if you get the chance though, check out the WandaVision article. It's called "They Are an Unusual Couple," and the tagline is "Welcome to the cerebral genre bending of the MCU."
Yep. Again, great title. Love this guy. He's awesome. Happy that he was
Thank you,
able to be on the channel to discuss
thank you,
WandaVision with
thank
me.
you.
As I've been wanting to do this video for a while, but I wanted to have the right person on, you know. And of
I
course, I already
appreciate
have.
that.
Yep. So I already have a slew of other video ideas I want to do with this guy, as well as with probably other YouTubers I know of. It's just a matter of reaching out, scheduling, that sort of thing. So again, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, stay up to date, and I'll see you guys in the next video.